welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would talk about the churches and why they are not fighting, and should they. Okay, I talked last week a little bit about it, and so I'm going to continue on this thought, some ideas. One point I wanted to make is that the churches are fearing man, not God, and because of that, they're doing foolish things. They are keeping their churches closed when this so-called rules or laws, supposedly by these governors, which they're not. There's no law that you have to wear a mask. There's no law that says you have to social distance. These are rules that are being passed down by tyrants. Mostly Democratic-run states, but not all. Okay, so this isn't a Democrat-Republican argument, because now, yeah, the Democratic governors are being more strict. I mean, California shut down again. No, I know. Mandatory wearing masks, really? No. And the people that go along with it are fools. The churches should know better, okay? The churches, they should know that God is their protector. Yes, you should have been conscious of the rules, so to speak, initially, until we found out what this is really about, okay? It's plain as day, obvious for anybody to see. We've got all of these so-called protesters, or the protesters that are have the commies intermingled with them. Either way, doesn't matter. Point is, these jokers are wearing masks so that you don't know who they are. Makes you wonder if this was planned. Yeah, it was. Whether it was planned with a lucky strike, but I know there's too many things, too many fingers pointing to the fact that this was all part of the plan to get people to crash the economy so they can usher in their new world order. That's just part of it, using the communist veneer. So, and there's so many people just, they are clueless when it comes to communism. They think it's a good thing. Well, there's your dumbing down of the schools, but anyway, I digress. So, the churches know better. They should know better. But so many of them are bowing down to these governors and closing their doors. But there are some, and you don't hear about them, because thankfully they are surrounded by people that aren't snitches, and they just went on ahead and held their Sunday meetings, same as anybody else. Initially, they did the social distancing, but I would bet money, I haven't been in these churches particularly, that I heard about, but chances are they're probably, not as worried about it, because we're seeing what we have, that we're dealing with is not as bad as they were saying. So I didn't want this topic to digress into a talk about COVID, because it's really not. I just want to talk about the churches, okay? Number one, they fear man, not God. And that's where you run into trouble. They should be seeking the whole counsel of God on this, on what they should do. No, they should not close their doors. They also, these churches, the lay people, as well as the so-called leadership, they are afraid of death, or being imprisoned, or being fined. Instead of standing up against the tyranny, which is exactly what they should be doing, and which is what the churches did back at the founding of our country. You don't hear about the Black Regiment, but it was an important group of clergy who were responsible for helping. They were active in fighting against tyranny. Let's put it that way. Okay? So anyway, these current churches and leadership, they're afraid of death. They're afraid of going against the grain. They're afraid of losing their 501c3 status, which point blank, that's what it is. That's what they're afraid of. because they might actually, the preacher might actually have to go get a job, or he might have to actually do what you're supposed to and worship God, not the state, not bow down to the state by setting up a 501c3, which is in essence what you have to do, because you have to agree to abide by these rules. No, the church should be completely separate from the state. That's what they already complained. Oh, separation of church and state, yeah, except for the 501c3. That's when these little jokers can get their little grubs in. Anyway, here's what I believe churches should be doing. Like I said earlier, be wise and to seek the whole counsel of God. Read through the scriptures, teach your children, listen to me, your children, but also teach your flock how to stand up against tyranny, how to recognize it, and how to fight against it peacefully. Until otherwise needed, hopefully never needed, but to stand up for the truth, to stand up for what's right, and to not bow down to the pressure. They need to watch carefully to make sure that they don't give an inch, not 1 inch to the government, because as soon as they do, the government will take miles and miles and miles, and before you know it, you have a church in America that looks exactly like the church in China. Now you have the state-sponsored church in China. Yeah, okay, right. There's no gospel there because you've got to worship the state. You can't worship a creator. Huh? Why would you do that? You got to worship the state. That's what we're headed for here. We are headed for churches that are nothing more than a glorified, just like the media, they're a glorified propaganda tool for the government. So, yeah, this is not a good thing. This is not something you want to happen. So the churches, specifically, they should get together with other churches. And I don't mean ecumenicism. I can't even say the word ecumenicism. In other words, you're not talking about doctrine or anything doctrinal. What you're talking about is the fact of your right to worship as you see fit. And the churches need to get together with the mosques and synagogues and say, we are here for our people. We are not going to close because of your stupid rules that you're making up as you go, making up on a whim to see what we can get away with. Well, let's see, the governor of Michigan, Whitmer, the Empress, as I've heard somebody call her. Yeah. She just, she makes these rules up as you go. Initially, she made these rules about you can't travel here and there. Well, her family has no problem traveling. She has no problem traveling. See, these rules, as typical of oligarchs, elites, is the rules are meant for you, not us. Just like our Congress, when they passed Obamacare, okay? They exempted themselves. How nice. And we the people, we do nothing about it. We just, oh yeah, where's the ball game? Throw a broad on the grill. I mean, yeah, you had the Tea Party, so-called, but guess what? It was made up of older people, not so many younger people, and it was co-opted by, let's say, Glenn Beck and Sarah Pig on a Lipstick Palin, okay? She could sing, man, she should be in Hollywood for her acting abilities. Yeah, not, okay. Initially, I almost believed her, but then you saw what she did. These people are just, the deep state has its clutches all throughout. And I'm sorry, my friends who are Trump fans. The man either is incompetent. Well, no, not incompetent. Well, it could be incompetent, but he's either been compromised, so he can't do anything, or he's in on it. One of the two. That's the way it looks to me. You know, I hear people complaining, or well, not complaining, saying that, well, he's done so much for America. If he has, I haven't seen it. So there's certain things like Obamacare that's still ticking along. Every bit as powerful. Let's see what else. Oh, the border? Well, yeah, the Dreamer thing just... Anyway, bottom line, the churches. I gotta get out of politics right now. I'm supposed to be talking about the church, but it's important, okay? The church needs to stand up. And when they do, see, here's the thing. When they do, the government knows that it's trouble. That's why they've given them all these perks, the 501c3. This is why they're giving them all passes on, well, not passes because they are fining them, but they don't want to come down too hard on the churches because they need them to continue to be the Pied Pipers for the sleeping. Okay, the sleeping, get to put the giant back to sleep, not let them wake up. The giant meaning the people who are tired of the crud, tired of every freedom that they have, property, freedom of travel now, you know, stay at home. All of these things are just eating away like a cancer at our freedoms, and the churches could be leading the charge to stop this, but they're not. One of the first things that we, the United States, did, besides murdering millions of innocent, well, millions of Native Americans, is the first things we do is take out the Rainman, take out the not the Rainman, the Rainmaker, the what's the word I'm thinking of? Medicine Man. Take out the Medicine Man. And that was their leader spiritually. So we're doing the same thing to our own. Justice, maybe. I don't know. I didn't do it. But me, my family, and my children are sure going to pay for the sins of our fathers, so to speak. So, and that's because we love the cushy life that we have. We don't want to sacrifice anything for anybody. And so we're eaten up with consumerism. We're eaten up with debauchery and our sins. We love our sins, just flat out. And so that's another part of the problem with the church is their fear of man. They have no fear of God. They should, but they have no fear of God, and they're wrapped up in their sins. And because they're wrapped up in their sins, they're blinded, apathetic, and impotent against tyranny. So all we need are just a few preachers that are willing to stand up with others and get out there, forget mainstream media because they are an arm of the government, and just get out there and rally people to fight against these radicals that are taking over our cities, these radicals that are taking over every institution that we have here in America. We have them all over the education system, all over. Okay, of course in the churches, and get back to standing for the Bible. Okay, get back to what's important. Things like, well, being a good person, being not just a good person by not a good person necessarily by man's standards. Of course, our standards should be in line with God. But anyway, getting back to the fact that it's all about family, and it's all about taking care of each other, about learning about God, worshiping God, not this darkness that's going through our churches right now. So, I don't know. Is this judgment? Could be. Could not be. I don't know. But bottom line, we are in trouble, and we have been taken over by the communists. They are taking us over, whether you care to see it or not. Doesn't matter, because it is what it is. China has had their tentacles in this country for many years. People have warned about it. You know, they pointed the finger at Islam, okay? But, yeah, there's radical Islam, fine, yeah. Muslims just need to come to Jesus, but that's not the problem. They keep you looking over there, when in reality the problem is right here at home, okay? And it's, how do you even tackle this? You have to do it together. You can't do it, by yourself. You have to seek God's will for where you're at in your life, where you live, get together with other people, talk about this, and keep an eye out for each other, and actually care for your neighbor. Know your neighbor and care for them. Watch out for them. You see anybody messing with them, you stand up for them, and vice versa. We are a community. They keep trying to divide us. It's not about race, okay? For some people, they think it is, but it's not. It's about a tearing away, a destruction of this country, splitting and dividing people, male, female, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, rich, poor, any way they can divide us. Jew, Muslim, Christian, just split and tear and split and tear. That's what they're doing. And we're following right on line with it. So it's up to us to talk about it. Talk about it around the water cooler, wherever you're at, in the church, if you go to a church. Talk about it with your family. And don't let it keep continuing. Speak out on it. And make plans for your family, how you're going to provide for them and take care of them, because this is just the beginning, my friend. It's going to get really ugly. I don't know how ugly it's going to get, but it's you're going to have to be mentally prepared for it, and mentally prepare the people that you care about and the people in your community, and just pray and get close to God as you can. So, sorry this wasn't a very happy message, but it had to be said. If you have any news, any comments, or any thoughts, please share them. If you'd like to subscribe, please click subscribe and click the notification bell for my next video. And until then, be blessed and get close to God as you can, because this is going to get ugly. All right, God bless you. Have a great day. Bye.